Before King James had pretty powerful words on the shooting of Jacob Blake.
If you're sitting here telling me that there was no way to subdue that gentleman or detain him or to just before the firing of guns, then you're sitting here and you lying to not only me, you lying to every African American, every black person in the community, because we see it over and over and over. There was multiple, if you watch the video, there was multiple moments where if they wanted to, they could have tackled him, they could have grabbed him. You know, they could have done that. And why does it always have to get to a point where we see the guns firing and his family is there, the kids are there, it's in broad daylight, and who knows? I mean, if that video is not being taken by that person across the street, do we even know if we even see that video? There's like talks about that on. That's a possibility. It's just, quite frankly, it's just in our community. And us, I know people get tired of hearing me say it, but we are scared as black people in America. Black men, black women, black kids, we are terrified because you don't know. You have no idea. You have no idea how that cop that day left the house. You don't know if he woke up on the good side of the bed. You don't know if he woke up on the wrong side of the bed. You don't know if he had an argument at home with a significant other. You know if one of his kids said something crazy to him and he left the house steaming. Or maybe he just left the house saying that today is going to be the end for one of these black people. That's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. It hurts. It hurts. And it's this through the grace of God that he's still living. Like 7 shots, close range, and he's still alive. That's through the grace of God right there. And my prayers goes out to that family and that community. But I got nothing nice to say about those cops at all. As a community, we really want change. And it doesn't not only just end in November, but it starts there. It starts there, and but we got to continue to still keep our foot on the pedal. Then, even if we get what we want, we still need more. What are we getting? Because right now of what's going on it's just not okay. And but I hope I can continue to uplift my community, uplift communities all over America, uplift the black community. Like I said, that's part of the reason why I started More Than a Vote, to, just to get people to understand how important our voices are. And the luxury of, partnering with the NAACP today, trying to get younger kids in there to help with the polls and things of that nature because of COVID, and the older generation are at risk, and it's just so much that we have to do. It's not like it's going to happen tomorrow, but being organized and having a plan and keeping our feet on the gas pedal is something that we got to do. I know I'm kind of all over the place, but my emotions is all over the place as well.
LeBron James has been using his platform to bring awareness and fight for change. And Big Game, you brought it up earlier, those who came before him, Kareem, Bill Russell, Jim Brown, Muhammad Ali, all these people. He has a voice and a reach that many minutes a little later on. This was supposed to be our scheduled pregame show filled with excitement for the Lakers to close out their first playoff series win since 2012. But as we have seen all through 2020, we are in unprecedented times. And tonight, there will be no NBA games. The players have boycotted in response to the police shooting of Jacob Blake in Wisconsin on Sunday. James and Rob, what was your reaction when you heard the Bucks and the Orlando Magic were not taking the floor? Rob?
For me, I look back at when James and I played, and I'm like, we had a voice, but we was really too scared to use it. Well, I can't speak for James. I'm gonna speak for someone because it was such a, kind of a boys' club, and now everything is opened up, and these young men have the ability to step up and say something. And when Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm so happy, I am so happy that Milwaukee was the first team to play. Because I guarantee you, if it was someone other than Milwaukee, they'd have played, and then Milwaukee probably came on and said, oh, but it started a snowball effect. I saw where the baseball team in Milwaukee, they're not going to play that game, the Brewers. And so for them to exercise their voice and step up and say, you know what? The only thing that seems to get people's eyes is hitting them in the pocket. And for them to say, we're not going to play this game, and for the other NBA brothers to say, okay, we're not going to play this game either, that's a strong statement. That for me, being a black man in America and being a NBA alumni, that was the proudest moment that I've seen outside of the things I've done in the sport. And to see those guys step up as a group, as a whole, and say, hey, enough is enough. And I'm just proud. I'm very proud. That's all I can say.
Yeah, it's been a tough week. It's been a tough year. It's been really tough witnessing, all the things that we've had to endure. And there was a time in sports where black people weren't even allowed in sports. In baseball, we know Jackie Robinson broke that barrier. Earl Lord broke it, and Nat Cooper broke it in the NBA, and so on and so forth. So for a long time, if you were black and you were an athlete, you couldn't say anything, or you would be blackballed like Muhammad Ali was, or like Floyd was, who in baseball became a free agent and said, I can play where I want to play. And so there's been examples of systemic racism. And now that our current players, because when you're only making $300,000 a year back in the 80s, or you had a choice: lose my family, lose my job. There's a lot of pressure. But now these guys have a bigger platform. And that platform is due to guys like Jim Brown and Bill Russell, Muhammad Ali, and so on and so forth, Jackie Robinson, who lay down and risk everything so that these current day players now, particularly now, who not worrying about a salary, and a lot of them come from those neighborhoods. LeBron James was born in Akron, Ohio, homeless mother. It's not the first time he's seen this. It's not the first time these players have seen it. They've lived it. So that's power, to be able to pull your rank. It reminds me, I don't remember this, but I read about the protest of people not taking the bus in Alabama and how that hurt the city financially so much that they were going around trying to make black people ride the bus. It was difficult. So I understand it and I get it, because the bigger the travesty, the bigger the protest, and this one is peaceful. It's verbal. We hear from our players and how they feel, and I commend them for what they did today.
Powerful, both of you, and it is appreciated. And here's how it went down. The NBA and its players are demanding change in the aftermath of Jacob Blake shooting in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Players from the Bucks started the boycotts, leaving the court and staying in their locker room. They did not play their scheduled game at 1 p.m. Pacific. Thunder, Raptors, Lakers, Blazers followed suit in the boycott. The Bucks as a team gathered and read a statement on their decision.
The past 4 months have shed a light on the ongoing racial injustices facing our African-American community. Citizens around the country have used their voices and platforms to speak out against these wrongdoings. Over the last few days in our home state of Wisconsin, we've seen the horrendous video of Jacob Blake being shot in the back 7 times by a police officer in Kenosha, and the additional shooting of protesters. Despite the overwhelming